All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Everybody will stand.
Let us pray. Almighty gracious God, as we gather this night, we do lift up our firefighters, Central Fire District and Forsyth Fire District as they fight a mutual aid fire in the Rockaway area. May you be with them and watch over them and keep them safe. We do praise you for how you watch over us as a city, as a nation, and as the world. So be with us and guide us and direct us in the work that is before us. This we pray in your holy name. All God's people said, Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get down to business. All right, the first thing we have is to swear in a new alderman. Glad to have you this month.
I, do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications for the office of Alderman Ward 1 as prescribed by law. I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of the state, the cities of this class, and the ordinances of the city of Forsyth. I will faithfully demean myself in office of the office.
All right, welcome, Missy. You want to tell everybody about yourself? Come on.
It's good to be back.
Missy's been here before. All right. Number 2 on the agenda, second and final reading of bill number 542, metal detecting Shadow Rock Park. Hopefully we have it all with the right numbers this time.
I move that we read ordinance
542.
542, thank you.
Mhm.
And by title only. Second.
All in favor?
Okay, with one correction.
Yep.
In the paragraph or sentence underneath, under section 1, where it says it's allowed only in the city's Shadow Rock Park.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make that one word.
Oh, the Shadow Rock Park?
Yeah.
Shadow Rock?
Yeah, because it goes, it's all over the
know.
place, all, like,
I've
everywhere you
seen
look,
that,
you see it's
yeah.
different places, different
Yeah,
ways.
I got it. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, your vote?
Aye.
Okay. All right.
And also adopt.
And adopt.
And adopt, yeah, okay. Bill number 542, Board of Aldermen, City of Forsyth, Missouri, ordinance amending section 225.060 of the city code.
Motion to approve and adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go ahead and I always do roll call vote. Okay. So just, that's why I point at each one. Do you need me to make them say their names? Okay. But this needs fixed. Okay. All right. Forsyth Chamber, Rose.
Hello.
How are ya?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So the reason I came in today, I just wanted to kind of give everybody an update about our spring fling. We were so excited for it. We wanted to have complete transparency with our community, and so I thought this would probably be the best way to offer that. I don't have any complaints or anything crazy. I'm just giving information up today. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that we ended up with 47 vendors on Main Street. And then we ended up with about 2,000 attendees on Main Street. It is fantastic.
It is.
And then we had 12 young entrepreneur booths. And so, yeah, and then a couple people wrote some testimonies, and so they wanted me to kind of read those. But the first testimony came from a lady who didn't even know that Forsyth what Forsyth was. She'd never been to Forsyth. She lives in Stone County. They have a business in town in Branson, but they had never been to Forsyth. They did better at our festival than they would have at their shop on a Saturday.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And so they're excited for the Harvest Moon. And so that was, I thought, just crazy that they could do better at our festival. And so
What business was that?
that was,
You don't know, that's okay.
I do know, but I don't know if they want me to disclose that. So I can tell you in private if you want me to, I guess.
Sure.
I mean,
And I can get confidence if I need to.
yeah, I don't know if they want me to share that or not. So it wasn't part of their testimony. It was just like in part of our talking that they informed me that they had made more money there than they did at their shop.
Appreciate your discretion.
Yeah. And so, and I can tell you they also sell online as well. And so their testimony was the Forsyth Spring Fling was a blast. It was exciting to see so many people there and so much activity. The event was well organized with a variety of entertainment and vendors. There was something for everybody to enjoy. It felt like a good way to start the day with some gentle yoga too. What a fun way to spend the Saturday and kick off the season. And so I thought our timing was also really well. Another one came from the yoga lady. She said, we had an excellent time at the Spring Fling in Forsyth. We were originally from a very small town in Kansas, and it felt like home. The event was smoothly, and we were looking forward to coming back in the fall. City events bring unity to small towns, and I'm happy we were able to be part of it. And so I thought that was pretty awesome that that brought a unity feeling to Forsyth, and so, because I'm not sure that we've had that in the past. And the last one that I have on here was from one of, so they were a vendor, and they also were, their child was a young entrepreneur. And they said, Reese had a blast. She really enjoyed meeting new people and being able to explain 3D printing. I thought it was a good turnout. People really seemed to be having fun and having a good time at all the different booths. And so I wanted to share those in all of our,
That was a beautiful day.
it was gorgeous. And just seeing everybody out there. And then I know a couple of the aldermen came out as well. And I know a lot of people came up to me and commented on having you guys walking around and being in the community and how much they like that. And so I know that Dustin came by, walked past my booth multiple times in the day. And so I know the discussion out there in the community has been really awesome. And David actually did our car show, so I was going to give him a chance to speak if he wanted to on the car show. And I hadn't ever met David until the last time I was here. So when I came and spoke, he reached out to me about doing the car show. And so
I heard a lot of positives about the car show.
yes.
Yeah.
I even had somebody already contact me about doing a sponsorship for the fall.
Yeah.
And so, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, we ended up with 62 total cars. We had, obviously her person count was very high, and I was on the other end of the street, and it was a tremendous amount of people in and out both ways. All of our entry fees, all of our t-shirt sales, all went to Relay for Life. We raised $1,525 so far, and we still have quite a few t-shirts left to sell. All of the payouts were from local sponsors. We had cars from Camden, we had a guy from Monette drove all the way over, a guy from Aurora, a couple of people from Arkansas. We had
There was a car from Albuquerque.
yeah, there was one person that said they were coming from West Texas or New Mexico.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet everybody because
That
I
was
was
amazing.
all over the place.
Not specifically, I talked to them, they were en route.
Yeah, they just were stopping as they were coming through.
Hey, it's everybody when I talk to you.
We had one first-time car show guy that absolutely loved it. He was just incredibly impressed with how everything was ran and everything. We have offered to do the Harvest Moon one as well.
Awesome.
We're going to donate all the proceeds from that one as well between the chamber, and we're going to do something animal related. Yeah, Paws and Hands United is what we're going to split it up with. So yeah, it was great. It was great seeing all of the aldermen that were out and about. I know I saw David quite a bit. Our sheriff was there. It was good seeing everybody. It was a great community feeling. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it, and I personally could not have pulled it off without my girlfriend Nicole helping. Tracy Reed, Darren, her husband, and Kristen Clark really went out of their way to help and
Great.
make sure everything ran smoothly. And obviously for Rose trusting us to do it. So
That's great.
we're really happy to do it. And our goal for the fall one is I want to see 100 cars on Main Street. So
That's very awesome.
I think it was fantastic.
it was a great
Yeah.
day.
Nice event. You guys did a great job.
If you guys want to mark in your calendar, September 24th is the Harvest Moon Festival. It's a Saturday. It'll be in the afternoon. And,
You said September 24th?
yep,
Okay.
yep. It's coming up fast, I know. We'll be looking for people to serve on committees to try to help ease the stress because Harvest Moon has been going on longer, and so it is a lot larger than what Spring Fling is. Spring Fling, this was the first year. Harvest Moon's been going on for a while, so
Yeah.
if anybody's interested in helping out, serving on a committee, I won't work you to death, I promise, unless you're David. But we are looking for members to serve on that. And so that's all I have. I just appreciate the time and wanting to let the community know how we did and how we can.
Well, we appreciate all your
Bring
work and David's work and all of them that participated.
Yes,
So.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, discuss police portable radios. We have a problem.
Yeah, so I got a whole bunch of stuff. I talked to En route today, they come by and they looked at some stuff. RCS has come over and looked at our tower, and I've got a picture of here. Let everybody, RCS, you've got it in your packet, and this is the one that did they're wanting to do some pyramid in-car repeaters on the current existing radios. We have Kenwood radios, it's on the Next Edge digital radio. They've had some issues with the pyramid repeaters. I've talked to other places and stuff like that. But this is the backside on here is a quote to fix the tower. What they want to do is take some coax down. I'll pass this around. You can see we got an issue with some coax up there. So they want to take off some of the coax
Gosh.
and put our repeater in a box, basically a waterproof box. So we take about 250 foot of coax because it runs over to the well. The well house is inside where our repeater is up there. They just want to bring it straight down and mount it right in front there because we've got power. So it'll cut some of the coax out and maybe some of the interference on that. What I would like to do is just go all Muslim. We have to get the tower repeater fixed because we have to have a secondary backup. If one goes down, two is one. So I would like to go to Moslem radio. Moslem is expensive to the Cadillac, and Motorola, they're a Cadillac radio. You can pretty much, that's what county runs on. And then Branson just switched over to them. I think Branson, Hollister, Merriam Woods, and Rockaway Beach, and King County all run on Moslem. We work so much with all the other agencies, it would be nice to be able to communicate directly to officers on scene instead of having to go through dispatch. But like I said, they're very expensive.
I'll give you another job, but we did a test in here. He called dispatch on his cell phone and asked to do a radio check standing right there, and dispatch couldn't hear him.
Right.
He tried twice. They didn't go out from this building.
And that's
So-
a serious problem.
And then that's the
And we're having issues, and I think that an in-car repeater, Moslem, we come with an in-car repeater. And we're big enough that we can have our own channel. So we wouldn't be fighting with anybody else for a channel. We would have our own Moslem channel. It's free from the state. We have to sign a little agreement that says we'll be good on the radio. And then, we won't be, using it like a CD. And then we'll have our own channel and the radios. Now, we had en route come and look. Some of the Moslem radios that we do have in cars, they were old refurbished radios. They think some of them might work, And saying they think some of them might not work. They don't know. It's either get all new and start all over, or you just get new and be done with it, and it'll be good. They said it'd be good for about 10 years. And then that's when their times and everything have to update. We will have to buy, because they give me so many different quotes, I don't have a definite bid yet until they get everything all put together, because they looked at what radios that we do have and what we don't. It has I've got one, it's pretty pricey, but it's got more radios on there. We necked it down. This one here is.
Is this one to replace this bit, to replace everything that we have?
Yeah, and it will give us one extra portable radio. That way, if we have a reserve riding with us, we can give them the radio. There's one in there that you probably, and it should be included in that. We'll have to put the control kit in dispatch for our channel for them to work off of. It's just plugging another radio channel into
Right.
it.
Dustin, your feelings?
Well, seeing this thing here and not even be able to talk to dispatch from this room, and I've used the Kenwood radios and they are kind of, especially when you, I mean, line of sight, they work great sometimes. Motorola's are much better. They've got better repeaters, even cell phones. A Motorola cell phone will get better service than any other cell phone. So, I mean, I've talked with the chief and everything, and I understand, I mean, the radios they need to be upgraded.
They do.
And they're pricey. I actually was climbing on a ladder and moved a cable and dropped one in the water and had to pay for it. And little did I know that's a $2,500 radio, and we had Motorola's. So,
Can I get Deputy Walder?
Yeah.
So these are the radios that they have. The keys on here is this little button on the bottom. Let me turn it on. That is an instant tone for an officer in distress. You don't have to say anything, do anything. You push that little button on the bottom right there, and it sends out tones to everybody and says there's an officer in distress.
Okay.
And it locks it up, so if you're fighting somebody, you don't have to stop and try to key up. You know, can you do a radio check?
Yep. It also continues, so if I didn't have service at that time while we were wrestling around, it would, once it got service, send out that tone to dispatch, you know, while on the fly. 130 Tanny radio check.
Should work.
Now they go.
We're open. They get the fire going.
130 Tanny radio check. Get keyed up.
131.
Okay. So, I mean, she heard them. So, yeah, they got those things going on. So, with those radios, if we're working together on a call, he can be on the other side of the house and I'm on the other side of the house. We can talk directly to each other, no problems. That's the key, that it's more of an officer safety than anything.
That's where I'm seriously concerned. We cannot have them out in the field and not be able to reach somebody when they're wrestling with somebody and trying to have to dial their cell phone.
Yeah.
It cannot happen.
We've had that happen twice. Another officer that was down at the roundabout couldn't get out. It was happened to fight with the drunk, and we had another one over at the White River Plaza that was fighting a guy that had 4 felony warrants and didn't want to go to jail, and got into a good fight with him and had to break away from him and let him run away and call on his cell phone as he's chasing him down 160 saying, "I need help." So that's
unacceptable.
So I mean, they're our only lifeline to anything. So, and I've got the ARPA toolkit. I got sent the ARPA toolkit, and they want to push Moslin radios. They said that they want everybody to try to go with the statewide radio program.
Okay.
and I did do some looking, and most of the state is on Moslin radios.
Thank you.
Yeah, because highway patrol, so anybody that's coming through Forsyth, we have the jail. And on the last fight, well, one of the last fights that we actually had with a person, Branson was the one that responded from the jail. They dropped somebody off there, the only one available to respond. And they can talk, is because you scan all the channels and you can talk. So, thank you, man.
I personally don't want to keep patching. I don't want to keep patching and taking the chance that one of our officers is going to be in jeopardy. And that's just my opinion.
Well, if they're gonna last, 10 years.
And the quote is they have radios, since we are surrounded so much water, they have the radios that are water resistant for like up to 4 meters for so long, you know how they do the testing on that. So, and we just had a big, huge rainstorm, was working an accident in that, and my mic filled full of water and I couldn't talk to anybody. So it sounded like everybody was, underwater, gurgling in the bucket. So they guarantee them. They literally, they're guaranteed. They
So they have a warranty with them and everything?
They're pretty bulletproof.
Okay.
What's the turnaround time to get this?
Depends on how busy en route is, but I talked to the guy, it's just ordering the portables, and then we'd have to get the cars up there and have them outfitted. And it would just be rotating cars out as fast as we can get them out there to have them outfitted. So we're gonna take the old radio out, install a new radio and all new coax, and then add the repeater in it.
And that's all included in this?
That was one of the first initials bids on there. When he comes today, he said he's going to give them a minute to fine tune everything, because they might be able to look into trying to save us some money, and what they can do and what they can't do. But it was a ballpark figure. So I'm not 100% sure on the final dollar amount as of today.
You had your hand up?
Yeah, question for you, David. If I'm understanding you correctly, if one of us was in an accident and we were bleeding to death and you're trying to stop that bleeding, right now you couldn't get anyone to come and help us because you're too busy trying to save our life.
Well, it depends on where I'm at, and as far as I can get.
That could be all of us, yeah. Like this could literally save our lives.
Right.
And the officers.
And the officers.
And it's a critical thing.
Yeah.
Like we're putting them in harm's way, in addition to what's already happening to them. They're already in the most dangerous position in the building, and we're making it even more dangerous.
The way the climate is this day and age with that type of, and what our officers they're dealing with a lot more psychiatric than they had ever been in this since COVID started. And we cannot have them in danger. We just can't. And because we can't call and on a radio that we should be able just to click the mic and talk. And so instead of they're having to dig out their cell phone and then try to dial, that's unacceptable. And that's their personal property they're having to do that on. So,
Well, even like you said, the officer that was down by the roundabout, a year ago when the guy fell through the ice out there, it's general vicinity. If they needed more help, even the guys with Cheney County Fire, they wouldn't have been able to get out either.
Right.
So it's a life-saving tool, and they are a one-time pricey thing, but operating costs, you can put them at $10,000 to $15,000 a year if they're going to last 10, 12 years.
And en route does have, it depends on how you guys feel about it, they do have a payment program on that. So it's so that you don't think that you want to just spend a lump chunk all at once. They can break it down in sections.
okay. Well, I personally think that we need to put in motion the purchasing of this equipment.
And we can use ARPA money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, the money that we receive. So,
That was my question, so
Yes.
whether the ARPA money could be used for it. So.
Yes, he can. And we looked into that, and that's what he has on this sheet right here, basically. They just did. So,
I make a motion, we go forward with it.
Missy?
I second that.
Okay,
Angela has a question.
okay,
With the ARPA money, we have to follow the federal procurement guidelines, which means we need 3 price quotes, and they all need to be the same. And then you can make the purchasing decision itself.
that's right. And that, but we're getting this started.
Yes, it's very specific on how these have to be procured to be qualified for the ARPA.
Okay. So be prepared that if we do get these in, we need to get this going as quickly as possible, so we may have to have a special meeting, just so you know, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll get 2 more quotes on these. But, you know, En-Route is usually it's the biggest vendor in this area.
Right.
And I'll look for other quotes on, and I'll comparing apples to apples too.
Well, I personally don't think we should go with any, so anybody that wants to bring in Moswin, I mean,
Like you said, the county's on it, the state's on it.
yeah,
All the other cities are on it.
then I'm,
You know,
No,
we're the only
whatever.
ones not.
so,
The exception to that is if you can check state bid, that might be an exception.
all right, so I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. We're gonna get on that.
Police officer.
Huh?
That was a good kick out to the police officer appreciation week.
Yes, it is.
Bringing them up to some state standards.
Yep, I agree. Great, I want that back. Okay. All right, accept the firefighter application. We have an application for Nicholas Arnold.
And Nicholas is with us.
Yeah, he is.
You are?
Nicholas, yeah. Come on up.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. The only, I mean, I like it if the chief recommends him. I like it. The only question I have is the date of the signed application
Oh, yeah, that was,
from July of last year. I mean, are we still, is it good, still good to go?
yeah, it's so good to go.
Yeah, I was looking too at your driver's license that expired too, that was on here. Yeah. So,
That was my only
okay.
Actually, I gave him the wrong one, that's a CDL.
Uh-huh,
I kept my old one
Okay.
here, and I
Yeah.
actually gave him the wrong one, I gave him the Class S license.
yeah.
They gave him the CDL license.
Are you with Branson Fire?
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why it took so long.
Yeah.
So when I first moved down here and talked to him, I was still on probation for Branson.
Uh-huh.
So I was getting tested every day, had to test for a probationary test at the end of the year. So I told him I might just wait until I get all that done before I come here.
Yeah.
And then we're in a new department to get everything else going here.
That completely makes sense.
Yeah, I want to make sure I got the probation there and stuff.
Well, we are truly glad to have you.
Thank you. We'll take you.
Yep.
So I move that we receive Nicholas Arnold as a Forsyth firefighter.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Dustin?
Aye.
And I got 2 ayes that back here? Okay, thank you. Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Thanks for getting on board.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Okay. Okay, we have resolution, this is Nathan. No, I don't. Okay,
One of these has to be, he has a meeting, a finalized meeting for tomorrow. One of them.
all right, well, I would like to, yeah, I'd like to have a plan in place before we're voting on it, to be honest, so can we table that? Thank you.
They're having their meeting tomorrow for finalization of Kidney County.
Okay.
So we should have that.
And then the National Flood Insurance Program.
This is something that comes up annually.
Yeah.
They ask us if we want flood insurance. In the past, we've said no to it. In visiting with Nathan about it, and he said the only downside is that there are some properties in the area that could have some flood, such as I live at the bottom Vale. It's feasible that with the right rains, I could have some flooding in the basement. Feasible. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, your ways
But
up.
yesterday I watched a lot of water come down the hill. So, that's the downside. If we don't do it, they couldn't get that insurance. They can still get flood insurance through their insurance company, higher
Higher
than what the national.
than what it is,
So
yeah.
that's why I talked about the downside. If we go with it, as I understand it, if we wanted to build any other structures in Shadow Rock Park, such as when we rebuilt where the cabin was, the cabin, the new structure would have been built at a level that was out of the floodplain. Meaning,
3 stories.
it'd have to be on stilts. And it'd be a walk-up steps to get to that area to use it. So that's the downside to going with the flood insurance. The Shadow Rock Park is a flooding area, as we well know right now.
Right.
It's your job to keep it up this year. They gave me the job last year. No, you're
So that guy over there
They gave it to me
last
year.
You assume the blame then.
It's true.
All right.
And it happened at the very same time this year that it did last year. Almost. Really? Really?
Yeah, it
because
did. It was almost
Because in my first
within the
meeting,
week.
you all jokingly said that to me, and by the second meeting, we had water in the park.
Yeah.
So we have been seeing a lot more water moving along the streets and through the gullies, I don't know what you call them, gutters, and going over the roads and into people's properties. I know there was an instance in town with a commercial property that got some continual flooding. So I would say that it doesn't cost us anything to do it except for limiting new building the park. And was it building up out of the floodplain or was it having 4 walls on it? Was that a part of it also?
Well, you'd have to be on stilts at like the top of the bottom of the building have to be minimum 690 feet elevation. 'Cause that's the highest.
So basically, you can't build anything down there.
Nathan was going to talk to somebody who would be able to answer that question, or whether it had to be a structure, if it was just a pavilion we were putting down there, whether that had to be up, or because it doesn't have 4 walls, that would be paid.
If we're
And he was
repairing
gonna-
something, do you know? I mean,
You just can't take up any more cubic feet of flood space. They won't issue any permits or anything bigger.
so what we already
everything
have
we
is
build-
okay?
It's okay as long as we don't pass this flood insurance. But we won't be able to replace anything new if we pass this, because Dustin said it'll have to be up in the 690s.
Some of
And
those-
water comes in the park at 674.
Yeah.
But we
It's,
we
so-
could repair the bathrooms,
Yeah.
but not build new ones.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
Everything new
Thank you.
that you build is filling a cubic foot of flood space, so they won't issue a permit for that, but you put it back on the same footprint, then they're okay with that.
No, I don't see us building anything new with the
No.
habitual flooding of the park. What, 6 out of 7 years now?
684.2 right now. So
Yeah.
certainly let it.
I think it's going to be very few people in Forsyth will take advantage of this, but those who want it could take advantage of it.
At a lesser premium.
If we say no to it, then they can't. So that's the,
And this comes up each year. You can change your mind if something, if you found detriment by it, then change your mind next year.
Should we table this until we've got Nathan?
No,
here?
we can't, because it needs to be done by June 1st.
yeah, we're
So you
under-
can table it, meet again next week.
I could do that. I'm just saying, it's Rob.
I
Yeah.
like what Chris said, that, if we accept it this year, doesn't mean that we have to next year.
Right.
So I move that we do accept or join the National Flood Insurance Program and offer to let the community know that we have said yes to that. And
Okay.
if they want to purchase into it, they can.
Okay. Whatever
So
that.
I move that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for the good discussion, too.
Nathan is working on the ISO review. ISO is what the rating that we get as a community for fire insurance, fire mitigation, and stuff like that. Right now, we're at a 4.1, if I remember right. You really would like to get that down to 3. To get that down to 3, the fire hydrants all have to be working properly and stuff. And I know, Chris, we ran into the problem with one of the fire hydrants down close to where the water leak was. And he's looking into possibly the towers not communicating with one another. And so towers kick on water over here to replace water that is being taken out of another area.
Yeah, we turned that well off hand and it built that pressure back up. The problem that we had is we have towers that communicate with each other. Two wells run one time, then the next time one well runs, and they keep the same towers full. And they communicate through the phone lines. And they're antiquated, and every time it rains, we overflow a tower, which probably did some of our water loss. I don't know if anybody's tried to communicate with CenturyLink, but it's nearly impossible.
Oh, it is.
They won't show up. The new guys don't know how to fix it like the old guys did. So, been fighting that fight. So, I've gotten hold of some fiber people that have fiber in the area. And so we're going to have a meeting with the fiber people, the well people, and we're going to look at a new technology for communicating instead of using phone lines. So when that happens, then the pressure will build back up.
Okay.
Do you have a time frame on that meeting, Chris?
Huh?
Do you have a time frame on that meeting?
I do not. Just trying to get the well guy scheduled with the fiber guy. I would say probably in the next month.
So that's an issue, and Nathan's bringing up. One of the nice things is that the piece of equipment that the police department had, that used to be the old speed trailer. Nathan took that trailer and made it into where they can use that to test the fire hydrants.
I saw that, yeah.
Use that, and yeah, it's a nice little piece that he can jerry rig anything. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So he's working on that, and that's in process. So that's his report on that.
Okay,
So-
perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, we got a front brush hog and skid steer purchase. Chris?
Okay, if you look in your packet, you'll see there's just one bid because we're a part of the Sourcewell organization now. What that is that gives you the ability to piggyback off of MoDOT's bids, so you're assured the lowest bid in the state of Missouri.
So the bidding process is already done.
It's already done. And so we currently have Deere equipment and wanted to stay with Deere equipment. Cat equipment is usually 10 to 15% higher anyway. So that's why you just see one bid. With this, we're not used to, they use convicts to mow the hills in the park.
Yeah.
That program's went away. So MoDOT's letting trees grow up. Actually, we're not going to see the park someday. And they've assured me that they were going to help us with it. But, for a year trying to get that done, they haven't helped us. So we're going to use this equipment with the front brush hog to maintain those slopes. And then they said that they would brush kill them afterwards. And then also we'll use this for maintaining sewer right-of-ways and different projects. And we can get a front broom on it to maintain the trail.
That's funny that you put this in because I just talked to Kayla Kincaid about a week and a half ago, and that was one of her things that she said she missed was being able to sled down that hill because it used to be, trimmed up all the time by convicts, and I didn't even know convicts had done it, what she was telling me.
That program went away.
Yeah, and so anyway, she said that is all gone away, and it would be nice to be able to have that cleaned up. And so then you put this in, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So.
Well, it'll be used for several things, but that'll be the main thing. So we want to put people on there and want it to be safe.
And we try to buy one piece of equipment every year, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, and we can,
Then
this
budget.
won't have to be, Angela's gonna look and talking to Harvest. This is our last year on our backhoe, so it's gonna be paid off. It was financed, so we're gonna look at Harvest financing, see who has the best rate and finance it that way.
Are you set on this 325G?
That's the one that I talked to Devin Huff with the county, and it's one of the ones that he recommended.
Okay, for the rating on the front, kind of a little small, 2,500.
Yeah.
All the skid steers I've operated are 38 to 4,500 pound capacity.
They go up considerably.
Yeah, they do, but having the brush hog and things like that. It was just a little small for the front.
Yeah.
Does it have to be, when we do this, do you want a brand new one, or?
Well, it's a supply and demand issue. I actually talked to this guy at a conference over at Branson, and so they're literally none available. I mean, they're sold
No used
before-
ones either?
Yeah, they're sold before they before they even come in. So he's doing us a favor by holding this one until I can get your approval.
Okay.
And we had the same, I had the truck on instead of this, and we were gonna wait for after September for budget year. But the truck, I can't even get a new truck, a cabin chassis to replace one of ours. I can't get that till probably October. They won't take the order.
Gotcha.
So,
And you said you wanted to stick with Deere, you didn't want to go with New Holland?
we have Deere, you know, filters and fluid and everything already in our inventory, so that's why we wanted to stay with the Deere.
Okay, because I was bored, so I just started Googling some of the local guys, because I know I see these guys that are out of Springfield, and
Yeah.
you want to use this Murphy tractor.
Yeah.
You didn't want, I mean, because Heritage Tractor's big, they can't get us a better price at Heritage since they've got like 25 dealers in the area.
Well, Murphy actually won. This is the Sourcewell bid.
The bid.
So Murphy won this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
Okay.
bid. We go by it. It's a good organization to be a part of because, you know, they do the bidding for you.
I would make a motion that we go ahead and authorize purchase of that equipment for $78,950.
I second that.
All in favor?
Say aye.
Aye.
Yep.
Is there a breakdown of how departments are going to be billed for that?
It'll break down just like other equipment, like the backhoe would be. It'll just be a certain percentage.
We talked about this, if we're going to get a vehicle as well, I would recommend we charge the pickup off to the roads department and split these two between water and sewer, or this between water and sewer.
Does this Heritage also have like an OSHA compliant training that they come down and certify all the guys for skid steer forklift operation?
You mean Murphy?
Yeah, Murphy.
Murphy.
Because I saw the one in Hollister, if you bought it from Hollister, they have an OSHA compliant training officer that would do it, because if there's ever an accident, first thing they come out and do and say, where's your training records?
Right. No, it's not something I've looked into.
Okay. Because even
All
with
the guys are.
even with the backhoe operation, I mean, you could have the most skilled guy, one hoops, and the first thing they're gonna ask you is, where's your training? And then pretty much the investigation goes from there.
Yeah. And as a city, we're not governed by OSHA, but it's always
Correct,
good
but-
to follow their standards.
Yeah, bad press is bad press, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're down to you?
Aye.
All right. Number 10, Enhanced Enterprise Zone Board.
Give you a brief overview of what the EEZ board's function is. We have Mike Gailey, whose term expires this year. He's agreed to serve again if you're interested in reappointing him. And there's also a vacant seat that needs to be filled. I have had a couple of suggestions of people in the community to fill it, but generally it's the board members who make that determination, and somebody asks if they will suffer through one 30-minute meeting a year.
So we have Mike Gailey, but we still need another?
With Mike, we've got enough for quorum,
Okay.
but
But we can add another at any time.
yes.
I would recommend or make a motion to extend Mike Gailey at this point. The evening seat.
All right.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, perfect. Okay. If anybody has anybody that might be interested in that, please let us know.
It's a resume booster.
Huh?
It's a resume booster.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it is. Definitely.
Our resume takes over.
Okay, and appoint new alternate to Biosolids Board.
Yeah, I'm the chairman of the Tri-Lakes Biosolids Coalition. That's a big fancy name for where we take all of our sludge and have it turned into a final product. It's put on fields as fertilizer. In the past, Jack has been my alternate. I'd like to make Angela my alternate so she can attend the meetings when I can.
I vote yes on that.
Plus, we can use her, the main reason is self-serving, we want to use her financial expertise over there for that. We're
That's
having
probably a good
finance
idea.
problems with the city of Branson.
I want to make a motion to appoint Angela. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Missy? Okay. And Jen. All right, perfect. All right. Discuss nightly rentals, sprinkler requirements. Nate? And I'm glad to see you healthy and not here. Oh,
So bringing it forward to you guys for discussion and ideas as far as for nightly rentals. What is currently fire code required for nightly rentals, they classify them as R3, which is similar to a hotel motel group. They require residential sprinklers. It's a little different type of sprinkler as far as than you see in a commercial building, so there's a lot less cost to it. But it's been a hot topic, and it's got even further in the last few years. We had a meeting back in first of the year with other inspectors throughout Taney County, Branson, all over the Western, Ozark, Nixa, to try to figure out what other agencies were doing as far as with residential sprinklers concerning nightly rentals. And all of them are doing some sort of sprinkler requirement by the code. Some of them based off square footage, some of them just require a period. So it's kind of across the board as far as, but they do all require residential sprinklers. In the past previous code, it's been questionable as far as on our, we haven't enforced it. With the new codes, it's pretty cut and clear drive what is considered residential R3. That's what you have in your packet. It kind of explains what the different types of residentials there are. So, figured, and we do have a business currently that is pending a business license based on residential sprinklers. We do have a future expansion of Jellystone that it could affect for their RV park models. Would throw in that as well. And so,
I didn't see in your book, does it require a wet or dry sprinkler?
wet.
It is wet, so
It's a 13D type system. Basically, it's similar to a PET system. To use regular residential demand, and I think it's 28 PSI is required. So it's very minimal as far as putting in. Obviously, it's a lot easier in new construction, so they can hide the sprinklers for cosmetics and stuff, but they can retrofit other buildings as far as especially single-family dwellings, because that's what, it could be from one room, it could be multiple rooms in a house that they're renting, and that's considered nightly rental.
and so it's wet all the way to the sprinkler there, and the city pumps will handle it if one was to kick off.
Yeah, the PSI and stuff is a lot different than, obviously it's a lot smaller system than regular, depending on where you are, up in Jellystone, so they're in Water District 2. So currently, other than the water they're getting from Water District 2, there's no city water up there. Other places, they'll be coming off their mains as far as their house. So as long as they meet that threshold of PSI for the system, then they'll be fine.
Because I worked in where they were building a bunch of houses, they required sprinklers, and they also required you to have a 10,000 gallon surge tank.
To
meet
they
the
can't
demand.
meet fire flow requirements and stuff, yeah.
You have to have a surge tank.
So this would be on new buildings?
So that's really depending on, you retroact it or you move forward from this day forward for new construction or remodel or change of occupancy. Because that's what prompts it too, as well as, so someone has a single family dwelling and they say, hey, I want, they rented the house, well, it's not rented and we want to do a nightly rental. then that's a change of use group, and it goes to similar to what you call a hotel motel. And so that throws it into that commercial category when you start doing it nightly rental.
If Shadow Rock, would it fall under this?
So-
If it changed ownership, if they would have to sprinkle it then?
So currently, in the past, we haven't required it. It hasn't been vacated, as long. It's always had a license within the year and stuff. It has been vacant. That would be a decision, would you want to retro-add it? So if it goes under occupancy or it goes under new ownership is really the decision that would have to be made there. But, it'd be fair for them. And you got to look at the building. To throw sprinklers in an older building, does that cause undue issues as well? Does it, offset them?
Structural, I'm just concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Structural.
They're trying to sell it, that would happen
Trying
to sell,
to
we'll have to
get-
look at it forever.
Sprinklers into an old place like that and what it would, oh my goodness. So,
Yeah, and some of on the hotel motel side, it may even be out of our control because they have to have a state license as well. And so the state may require it, similar they did for nursing homes. We can't license it until all nursing homes are required to be sprinklers, period.
all right.
That could be the case as well, but.
I think Shadow Rock's got bigger problems than sprinklers
Yeah,
affecting its recyclability.
yeah.
I appreciated the video you sent me that showed the difference between a sprinkled room with a sprinkler system and one without, and what the fire does. So I can see how the sprinkler buys you all time to get there and do something, and buys the family time to get out.
Absolutely.
I think, in my opinion, to not put undue burden on people that already have existing, I think it ought to be new build.
Reconstruction.
I agree.
May I approach the council?
Yep, absolutely.
My name is Chris Logue. I represent Great Escapes RV Resorts. Our company just recently purchased Jellystone. And we just have a few questions regarding, me and Nathan has briefly discussed the sprinkling of new cabins per se.
Sure.
Technically, forgive me for being ill-prepared tonight. I've had a lot of time to do other things lately to try to get in compliance with our occupancy,
Sure.
our operating license. But I also spoke to Jeff Sims today, which is on the Arctic. Some of you guys might know him. He lives in Branson, but he's on Arctic National, American RV Council. He sent me a thing today stating that and I don't understand a lot of what our corporates got in mind because I haven't had time to meet with them. But from what I understand is the new models are not nationally considered a cabin. Let me read to you what he wrote today. It was setting PM RV, park model RVs, on sites with, which are referring to as cabins. Like all RVs, PM RVs are built in accordance with the National Consensus Standards, ANSI 119, for electrical, plumbing, structural, heating, fire, and safety standards. Park model RVs should be treated just like any other RV in zoning districts. To put sprinklers in RVs, we boil the manufacturer warranties.
Right.
And the freeze factor here is when I recently just managed to park in high elevation in Colorado for 5 years, and I know you guys don't get as cold as here as what we did in Colorado, but
But it gets cold.
it's really cold.
Yeah.
And to have, I know whether you recommend a wet sprinkling system,
that would be an issue because, you know, we're gonna shut these down during the winter months. And
Right.
there's always, I know, start opening up some of these cabins this year. I spoke with Nathan about, there's always those one little corners and everything that you don't always get the water out of, and then when you turn the water on, it ruins everything.
Yeah.
I do know that our company would consider or will put hydrants in throughout our park if water is an issue. And of course, our company will do anything to comply with what your city standards are.
Were we looking at putting them in the RVs too?
Well, they're considered, you know, when you say an RV park models, these are basically cabins on a metal frame. They're not like an RV that you drive down the road. Anybody been out to Village?
Yeah, I go out all the time.
The one in the back, the very far back, I think, was it 7 years? I don't know. It's been in the past that we actually adopted an ordinance for the existing park model that's there now.
Right,
It
because
came
we
up
don't
with
allow, yeah.
some guidance for that. But they're treated the same way as a nightly rental. But definitely there is some different, the standard that you're talking about also, that is not currently adopted either. That's a adoption just on its own, just for the park model trailers and stuff. And,
yeah. And I have no idea what the square footage of these units are. I've still got research to do, but I will be glad to address the council as soon as possible when I find out how many square feet these are. I'll try to get a layout of them. I guess what I'm begging for is maybe just a little bit more time.
Do you know, does your insurance company not require sprinklers?
Well,
rentals?
no, because of they're
It's
considered RV
It's an
park
RV,
models.
so.
Yeah,
What about you said the warranty is voided?
yeah.
If you
The companies that build the RV park models, if they put water lines in the ceiling, then that
Right.
voids their warranty altogether.
Yeah.
So if we get water damage because of a sprinkler mishap, could be freezing issues or whatever, then that would not be covered under their manufacturer's warranty.
Well, let me ask you another question. Do you have fire extinguishers?
Yes, sir, we're getting, and I've been in contact with Nathan, we are complying right now. As we speak, everything that the fire chief has asked and the building with Will, I'm so close to being completed so he can do his final inspection.
There's such a different, than anything else we have in town and
Yeah.
city limits, because we don't allow trailers
Yeah,
and stuff. And so
I understand.
it's almost like, I feel like we need to make an exception for those. And
can I say this,
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but our company is bringing jobs to the community.
It is.
Sinking approximately 10 million in this park this year. And I've already hired 5 people from the community, counting teenagers that I'm interviewing right now for jobs.
They're expanding. so-
Yeah, they expanded
Yeah.
and our company is a family-oriented business.
Did you purchase some more land too?
They
Yes, sir,
did,
up front,
yes.
up front. And all that is still in the drawing, the engineering state. Plan on putting a lake there with a floating obstacle course. Being manager there, I would offer our obstacle course to the fire department, police department for training. In addition to, I've been a firefighter in the past. I know an extra lake to be able to hook up, put a hydrant in is sometimes an added thing. I know what big fires can do out west. And I've seen the helicopters work, and who knows? You've seen it happen in the Smoky Mountains. They're having fires now, and this is really not that much different than the Smoky Mountains.
No, I kind of agree with Kelly. These are a different animal than the
Yeah,
typical
it's
thing
not,
we're
it's
looking
not the
at.
norm. Yeah, go ahead.
If we do, the reference that he was making for the insert is this book here.
Okay.
Currently, we only have one copy of this, just so that we're able to read into it, find out more information, since the international codes that we use generally don't reference the ANSI books. If we were to carve out the exemption and adopt the NC codes that these are being built by, which is that one there, we would have to do a separate ordinance adopting that specific book and then buy 2 more copies. I'm not aware of any online copies. They are, to the best of my knowledge, a purchase only, so that anybody that would want to reference those would have to come to City Hall to reference them.
And are your cabins or rentals gonna have a closet in the bedroom?
Like I say, I beg for a little more time to actually get a layout, so I can present it to you guys and say, here, this is what our engineers have in mind.
If you had them say that build all the bedrooms with no closet in there, then they don't qualify as a bedroom, you still can rent in them, and you wouldn't need to put sprinklers in there. Because I found it right in the nightly rental in there, so if anybody in town even had a nightly rental, just remove your closet, and then it doesn't qualify because it doesn't have a closet.
Is that the county ordinance?
What's that?
Is that the county ordinance you're looking at?
Yeah, Payne County zoning.
Yeah, so that's out in the county, their requirement. It also says that it refers to authority jurisdiction, so it goes back, because there's 7 fire departments in the county.
Correct.
Particularly at Jelly Zone, the other thing that needs to be talked about is also that's double coverage area with Central Canyon County Fire. So regardless of even the decisions made, there needs to be some conversation with them, because they may still require sprinklers in their jurisdiction. So that's a discussion that definitely needs to happen too.
So, in my opinion, since that's so unsettled, at that point, we need to leave it out. We need to leave it out. So.
And I'm going to recommend our corporate in Houston, Texas, that they, I know that they're, I don't know for sure if, it's hard to get in touch with anybody now. Everybody's so busy, but as soon as they can let me know, hey, I just wanted for them to stop production if you guys were going to require us with the sprinklers. Just to give us a heads up to prepare, you know, for that. With that, our company will comply on whatever we have to do.
Right. I think
And we're not standing here fighting about it, you know.
I think what we're trying to decide on, in my opinion, on these sprinklers are not trailers.
Right.
And that's basically what you have. And so, my opinion is that if we have anything else of BRBs and Airbnbs or whatever they are, whatever they're called, that go into new, or that we start new, then I think that's what I'm looking at, that we need to put sprinklers in.
Yeah, because I understand that somebody may want to build a bed and breakfast, or not a bed and breakfast, Airbnb,
No,
they don't buy it.
yeah, I think there's
Nightly rental.
there's more and more of them wanting to go in. So, and I think we'll see more and more of that.
Yeah, well, but like if you turn your house into an Airbnb,
Yeah,
you
new
have to put in
rental.
sprinklers.
Right.
New build
Yeah,
is a
'cause
lot
it's a-
easier than
Well,
old build.
yeah, a new build.
If you convert your home to
Right.
an Airbnb, you have to come up to their standards, which includes fire and sprinklers.
No, I'm wanting new build.
I think what Missy's saying is that
Right.
Airbnb codes have to say that you have.
Oh, yeah, Airbnb. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, okay.
But if you just want to convert your home into a nightly rental, not use Airbnb
Correct.
services,
Okay,
then
that's what I'm
it's
looking
not
at, yeah.
considered.
So Airbnb requires them.
Right.
Okay.
Does VRBO require?
Yeah. I would rather avoid making exceptions and have it be a blanket policy, but I'll wait for more information.
I hate to see them stop their production.
No, I don't want to see it stop, so.
I think we could make it work somehow, because I hate to see you stop your construction of your moles and
Yeah, and like I say, the minute I get in hand what they're building, I'll bring it to you guys.
And we can put in an ordinance just for that particular.
Yeah.
Would a square footage exemption Like, those things are.
I think I seen something
Yeah,
about
I
a
did
split
too.
399 or less.
It was, the ordinance was crafted for the RV.
Okay, yeah.
The current one that we have for the
Yeah.
park models.
Yes.
It's worded pretty specifically to be Jellystone only. Not to mention, if we do adopt the ANSI book that I placed in front of y'all, that would, I think, solve a lot of the carve-out problem, because that specifically is for one classification of living quarters.
Well, and that's the only place in town that was zoned for it. It's allowed at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, we have exceptions for different places
Yeah.
in town for different things, so, yeah.
And working with Nathan and Will, I think they'll verify that yeah, like Will, I kind of bug him to death because I want to be sure about everything that I'm doing to comply. He's been out a couple of times and just for advice and, yeah, hey, should I do this, or, you know, we want to do everything in compliance to what the city asked, and yeah, we're here to, I'm becoming part of the community here. I hope to retire here.
Yeah,
This is what I do. I manage parks, and
right.
I think I have a very nice job. I love very much. My wife is my partner in managing here. We know how to run a park and draw the crowd here. We're trying to get off the street business also, and they use passes and stuff for our widgets and our activities and stuff like that. The park I recently managed in Colorado, it just sold for like 12.5 million.
Wow.
The owner went from 2015, couldn't hardly pay his, his taxes on the place until I helped. I want to say, my wife and myself, we know how to run a park.
Right.
And
Jellystone,
we're really going to fight to pull that business here and that revenue into your community.
I don't know if any of you have been to Jellystone recently, but I go out there about every other weekend with my daughter and her family, because they love to go out there.
Yeah.
So every other weekend, Jonathan's off, so they go out there, and I go out there and I walk your park.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The
Yeah,
activities.
you should see it today. I mean, it's.
The activities,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
I go out there for King Bar Bingo, stuff,
Yeah.
so anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it, and that's what the big draw, it's a big
Yeah.
draw, so,
Yeah.
yeah, we
I
went
just
on.
purchased some new speakers for karaoke and
Awesome,
for some dance parties, some yogi
Yeah.
dance parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
oh, great,
yeah.
great.
Well, I think if you get smoke detectors and
Yeah.
fire extinguishers, we can work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just spent about $2,000 on fire extinguishers and smoke detectors, and I think I have one more carbon monoxide thing I have to get. Other than that, yeah.
So
changing.
we will need to adopt this book.
Yes, ma'am, I'll get a
Again.
wording on that for the next meeting, if that's all right.
That would be great.
And I'll also get the price for 2 more books so that we are able to maintain the 3 required copies.
Okay.
So there's the property in town that they want to make into Tiley Run. It does not have sprinklers.
Correct.
And is it gonna be Airbnb?
Thank you. No problem, sir.
Because she says they have to have sprinklers if they're Airbnb.
It's not Airbnb.
Okay.
Airbnb is being turned used as a general term right now, where it's actually just one service.
It's one, okay.
For our purposes, it's classified as an R3 within codes. Forgive me, you should have the wording of what an R3 is
Yeah,
in
it
your
is.
packets. And that is irregardless of whether it's an Airbnb or any other company name. It refers to whether it's a transient or non-transient, in this case a transient living facility with, I believe, 10 or less people in it. Forgive me, I don't quite remember the exact wording of it. But that's the part that references the International Fire Code that does require the sprinklers.
If we go the direction as far as non-sprinklers or restricted to new construction, I definitely would recommend something similar to what Western had did with in your packet. has lined it out as far as what's required for new construction, what's required, because are you going to require a business license for any nightly rental, whether it's Airbnb or any other nightly rental? That's the other question.
So I still believe that we need to stick this to new construction and on the sprinkler system.
I understand on the sprinkler system, but what about everything else? Are you going to require a fire inspection? Because that's what prompts, so a business license is what prompts the fire inspection and prompts our inspection. Hey, there's a new business coming, we schedule an inspection, building and fire inspection, and then...
I think so, don't you?
Yeah.
I think
That would also,
that would be fair, I mean,
that would also perhaps require some upgrading of some of the older circuit breakers, for instance, to arc fault or ground fault appropriately placed. So, which are additional safety features for houses that older ones may not have.
Okay.
And we should require a business license on any business, just so you have contact information, things like that.
Right.
Some of the ones I visit, they're placarded. They have, escape routes, exit routes, emergency contact numbers, different things like that. So there's a plethora of things that you can do besides sprinklers to make it more safe.
Right.
I think they should do that.
That's what I picked up on the nightly rentals, was the importance of having the contact information, because Joe Blow down in Houston, Texas can own the place, but you gotta have a local person that you can contact 24-hour notice, because there's a problem with that nightly rental. So
would that be you? Would you be the fire contact?
And we
The owner of the building has to have his.
They have to have a
If he
person.
lives in Texas, he has to have
Yeah.
a local person.
contact.
Yeah.
Right.
And that has
Someone,
to be put on the door there so somebody.
And we already have that with some that are, we've had people that own in California that have a person that,
Rental out here.
that has a person in charge here.
and we would need it, as well as city clerk would need it, any, department would really need them contacts in case, whether it's utilities or there's emergency and stuff. But definitely a checklist. There would need to be an ordinance to amend the current fire code, and amending the R3 ordinance. Of R3 means hotel motel, and then this is the regulation for new construction for nightly rentals, and the definition of what that includes, and then inspections for both.
Yeah. Give me one.
Okay.
Can you get with our attorney and get those different items set up?
But we need to get this in
Both
motion,
here.
because we got people waiting on it.
Yeah, we've got the A, right now, currently, A training, we're holding their business license up in the sprinklers.
So I move that we require sprinkler systems in new construction for nightly rentals, and work on the
Verbiage.
verbiage to,
Or fire extinguishers,
guidelines
for other rentals, yeah.
and this is a great beginning place.
It is.
Yeah, what Taney County zoning has is a great beginning place for that. So, I so moved it.
When we talk about nightly rental, ordinarily the term is short term, which is less than a month. Is that agreeable with everyone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll work.
Real quick question, will this also be, if you have a person that pulls a permit and initially stating they're building a house, and then 6 months later decide they're gonna turn it into a nightly rental, will it then become retroactive?
No.
Because I already have a person that did pull a...
Once we put this into play, and it's been a new build after we put this
Yeah,
into
yes,
play,
ma'am.
it will, and they try to change it into something different, then it'll go,
Okay, I just
It'll
want
have
to
to
make
be
sure that is
retroactive,
clear on
yeah.
that.
I think what Will's referring to is that a building, they got a permit to remodel a building, and then came to us and said it's going to be a nightly rental.
yeah. Well,
So going forward,
with a new build, new construction, because he said if they build in a house,
right?
Yeah,
and then 6 months later try to change it, no.
okay.
Yeah.
Just as long as I'm clear on that,
Yeah.
because I try to be as fair as I can on the.
Yeah, well, you can refer back to this video.
Yes, ma'am.
It's enough. So do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
I don't know.
Jack?
Aye.
Okay.
There's too much unsettled for me to vote yes right now.
It's in the process still, though. It's a process that started. And so that's what we're working on.
Yeah, I really want to see sprinklers in the future, because I think that they do save lives, they make the fire departments, you know it. And I was amazed by how much of it says new construction on houses, that sprinkler system should be put into, at least bedrooms and other places. Kitchen, you know, where there's the likelihood that there's a fire. So if I ever build a new house, which I'm not planning to do, I will consider that. So.
And most insurance companies will provide a fire discount if you have sprinklers in the
Right.
building.
And how close you are to a hydrant and
So,
yeah.
Will the water suppression be able to handle
I'm gonna go no right now.
Okay.
Probably not if they all went off at the same time. But yeah, they should, if they're the minimum.
Thank you, and I'm glad you were safe. All right, minutes of April 18th, 2022.
Do you want to hold on to that, or would you like me to?
No, I want you to hold on to it because I don't want to be responsible for that.
Yes, ma'am.
No, yeah. Okay.
I would move the approval of the minutes of April 18th City Council meeting.
Hey, guys. Oh, were you able to find the back?
All in favor?
But in the public comment section,
Yeah.
was Chris ever able to get in contact with the owners of the paper?
Yes.
You report back to them?
Yes, and I was hoping to catch that guy before he left. I've got a phone number for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
They willing to sell? or-
No, he wanted to approach them himself, so I got a phone number. I've talked to him in the past several times, as well as several other people. Oh, yeah.
Do you have Ken's phone number?
No, if you do, I can give you this. This is the people's contact number.
So do we have a, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Can I abstain since I was-
Oh, you weren't here. Yeah, you weren't. Okay. All right.
I move the approval of bills of April 21st, 22, in an amount of $7,327.08. The bills of April 28th, 2022 are $23,770.82. The bills of May 5th, 2022 are $37,816.45. And the bills of 5/12/22 totaling $27,958.52.
On April the 21st, did you say 7,373.08?
Yeah.
I think.
I thought you did, but.
I've been known to
All in favor?
I was hoping this morning, don't have a date, but yeah, I was hoping it would be a lot bigger than later.
No, you're fine.
Even this, but yeah.
Aye.
But yeah, as soon as I have a question on the docket, I'll.
Okay, for the accounts payable for 421, we have Aflac, Cheyenne Beasley for travel, Blue Valley for civil defense, Brady Creative for supplies, Colonial Life for employee deductions, Connell Insurance for Ensball Fire, and we have Hurricane Bay for repairs and maintenance. Then on the 28th of April, we have Anthem for employee benefits, Anthem Dental for employee benefits, Bluebird Electric for implement, Branson Globe newspaper, office supplies, Buzz Andrews for repairs and maintenance, Fastenal for repairs and maintenance, Hilliard for supplies, recreation, Bill McCullough for legal and a judge, MOCC FOA for travel and admin, Mo Department of Revenue for state withholding, Ray Lindsay for repairs and maintenance, SMESO for certifications and training, fire, and Trilakes Biosolids for biosolids sewer. 5.5, we have the 76 quarry repairs, Aflac, employee deductions, CES Branson.
So the Connell insurance is only for the firefighters?
It's firefighters.
Would we get a better deal if everybody went with Connell instead of just Aflac?
No, the volunteer fire insurance is a supplemental AD&D policy
Just for fire?
specifically for firefighters, a benefit to our volunteers.
Because I remember you had said that was better than Aflac, so.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It has better, yes.
Okay.
CES Branson for repairs and maintenance, Core and Main repairs and maintenance, Forsyth Water Fund, utilities and recreation, the Frank's uniforms for uniforms, G-Works for supports, contract sewer, Kenco fire equipment for repairs and maintenance, and L&J Plumbing for repairs and maintenance. Then we have loggers for retirement, Liberty Utilities for utilities, of course, Mo Division of Employee Security for employee benefits, Republic Services for trash removal, SWMOCC FOA for travel meetings, and Tri-Lakes Motors for repairs and maintenance, White River Valley for electric for utilities. And Arvest Bank for the purchase card, Colonial Life for employee deductions, Liberty Utilities for utilities, of course, and for multiple places. PD, admin, fire, recreation, lights, water, and sewer. Lloyd's Electric for more repairs and maintenance. Mo Department of Natural Services for sewer primacy fees. PUD for repairs and maintenance, WS. TC Water District 2 for utilities. Martha Thacker for camping fee refund. TOMO for miscellaneous. Drug testing, sorry. WEX for fuel, and John Womack for camping refund. That is all of the bills. I wanted to read through those just so that you and the audience had some idea of what we're spending our money on. Okay. Financial statements.
Who's putting up in Shadow Rock, who's putting the outlets up there? Is it Lloyd's or Bluebirds?
Bluebird.
Bluebird is? Okay. And how many did they actually install up there?
There's actually 10 hookups, 5 pedestals, so it's hookup on each side.
Yeah, that's $130 a pedestal, that's not terrible.
Yeah. So, at least that gives us a place to have a civic event when Shadow Rock's flooded, so vendors can plug in, there's water, sewer, and electric there.
So those would probably be 30 or 50 amp? 50 amp hookups?
Okay, financial statements, Angela.
Got your monthly bank balances on the front page. Balances are roughly $600,000 more than a year ago. Your revenue and expense report, you should be 2/3 of the way through for our year, and most of our expense categories are 2/3 or less spent, and our revenues are quite a bit more than 2/3 collected. Part of this financial thing is to get our new budget situated, and I've asked the department heads to turn in their requests by May 31st. I think we probably need to do a budget workshop with 2 new members on the board.
We do.
And I'd like to propose June 15th or 16th before the next board meeting so that we can get some solid numbers put together.
I'm out of town.
No.
So when will you be in?
Will you be here? Just not that week.
Okay.
The first week of June then would be my preference.
So like 6th, 7th, or 8th?
Is that like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay,
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yes,
Tuesday, Wednesday,
something in that
Thursday.
area would be great.
Just Tuesday, so yeah, so anytime.
Thursday would work best for me.
I may be able to be back on the 9th. I'll be in Colorado for most of the, probably can be back on the 9th if need be. So that's when it needs to happen, we can all be there.
And then the other weeks.
If it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, it'll have to be, I won't be here, I won't get off work until 6, so,
So we need to do it at 7.
yeah.
Tell me when and I will fix
So
that up.
7 o'clock on the 9th? For Thursday?
Is that pushing it for you to get back? Could we do Monday the 13th?
No, I think I can make that work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can make that work.
I leave Tuesday.
Oh, well, Monday the 13th would work better for me.
As long as council will pay my speeding tickets, I'm good. So,
But you're gone the 13th?
We leave Friday morning early.
the 10th?
Yeah. I can do anytime after 6 Monday.
On the 13th?
Yeah. Can you do Monday the 13th?
Can we do 6? Or do you want 6:30 or 6? On Monday the 13th? Sounds good to me. I can do 6 then too.
Just looking into it.
It usually takes a little while because we gotta go through everything, so. You have to allow at least an hour, maybe 2.
Well, just, not midnight.
Okay.
No, not midnight. I can't come to work Tuesday if it's midnight. The one,
13th at 6, is that right?
Yes.
the one big piece of information I need to start putting together some drafts for you is what we're going to do on pay for the coming year. What sort of increase do you want to consider? And Kelly had talked about changing up starting pay and leveling out some other bumps in the road.
We are not competitive. And with the increase in cost of everything, we're not doing our employees any favors. So we've got to think of something.
Can we make that part of our closed meeting today?
I would rather do it in the budget.
Okay, that's fine.
See more numbers aspect.
So can you give me a ballpark? Because the pay and the benefits are probably 75% of our budget. And in order to know what we have left after that, I need that. We can do it forwards or backwards, however you want.
What are we at? $12 an hour at our starting for maintenance and, oh boy. Then go to Hobby Lobby for 17. I personally, I think we shouldn't be less than $14 an hour, but that's my personal feeling.
I will play with some numbers.
Okay.
Could you do a 20%, like a 10% bump, 20% bump, 30% bump? I'm just saying, you just tell me those numbers. Not to add anything else to you, but.
That would be a tremendous amount. We usually budget 2.5% for pay raises, but we do need, Kelly.
Could you do 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, just to give us some options?
And adjust that starting or not?
Well, to discuss whether
Okay.
that's starting or not.
Just to see where the numbers take us.
Right,
Yeah,
and
to have a
then
ballpark of where it's
on
going.
officers, no less than $16 an hour.
Yeah, because I just had an outside guy give us notice, want to drive a dump truck for $24 an hour.
We can't compete
It's
with
not,
that.
we can't compete with our budget, but we're gonna have to do the best we can to try.
We need to try.
We can't have these guys.
And
out
with
plowing
inflation the
snow.
way it is, and they're paying more at the grocery store for everything, and we're not paying them anymore, we gotta do something, so. Okay.
The other item I have is we have an upcoming debt service payment on our water and sewer bonds, which will roughly be $116,000. It'll get paid between now and the next meeting, just so you're aware of it. It's just what we do in June 1st. saving some money.
Okay. So financials, no other motion.
Motion to approve financial statements as of 4/30/22.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, approved transfers from April 21st through May 12th, 2022.
So this will remove the numbers, or just move them?
Just for the dates usually.
Yeah,
Just
just
for
for
the
the
dates.
dates.
I move that we approve the transfers from April 21st, 2022 through May 12th, 2022.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Confirm monthly audit reporting sheet was received and reviewed.
Move that we show that we have received our monthly audit reporting sheet.
Okay, are we doing anything to, I see the water
The loss,
delinquency.
yeah.
Well, not the loss,
Oh.
because that actually, that percentage is way better than last
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
But with the delinquents, are we doing anything to really collect on that? Or is there anything we can do to collect on basically the $5,400?
The ones that we have personal information for, that we could send to collections as they are, I think it's 30 days or 60 days past their final bill, then we can do that. But the majority of our customers, we do not have that information.
No
on.
contact info on?
We've only started, well, socials and driver's license, dates of birth. We only started collecting those, I think, last fall. Before that, we did not require the information.
Okay.
So as those few accounts could be
collected?
Yes, we can send them off, cost us from 33 to 45%.
Correct, yeah, you're only gonna get back
You can get part,
part of it back, because they're gonna do all
but
that.
yes, that is the plan.
And most of these are only one period behind, which means 1 month behind, right, Angela?
Yes,
So that's much better than it used to be.
we are shutting them off quicker,
Okay.
which reduces the amount outstanding
And that was all recommended by the
audit.
audit.
Auditor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to not let them go so long.
Going back to the inflation and gas and everything, our folks who are on fixed incomes, do we know how many of them make up this list at all? Is there any way to know?
No, not really.
No.
No, not really. These are people who have left town.
Yeah, most
So
of them aren't usually, the ones on fixed incomes generally aren't the ones skipping town. Just saying,
Yeah.
so. All right. You
I moved that we
moved it,
receive-
okay, seconded?
Receive them.
And he seconded it, yeah, so,
They're so quiet.
all in favor?
Sorry.
Okay.
Aye.
Jack?
Aye.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right. Does anybody have anything to say? Well, I appreciate you all coming, and I appreciate your input.
So are the warranties on the trees in the park over now?
No. No. Not, when the water goes down, it will be past our 1 year though. They will be.
Well, they've been well watered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are the only tree we found that were able to withstand flooding.
So they can live without, like, being completely submerged?
Yeah, they're bulb cypress, aren't they?
Yes.
See, bulb cypress grow in swamps, that's kind of their thing.
They're small
And
trees.
if you look, they're, like, there's
They're the
a pretty good
weirdest
chunk of
root
them that's starting to leaf out that's above the
Yeah,
water.
I saw the leaves, so.
You see the one across from the tennis court, that's one we planted probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been chewed in half by a beaver, run over by cars. It's the little tree that could, so it's pretty hard. We've planted over 150 different trees in the park over the years. That's the only thing that lives.
Where's our $12,000 merry-go-round? Did it get down to the flood?
Oh,
yet?
it's down there. It's in.
It's in?
No, we didn't put it in. It's just been ordered.
If we turn it this way, we can make it into a...
Yeah. Well, we put a hose on it when we turn this way. It's a pump.
Where do we
Pump
store
out
that
the
when
park.
we're not, when it's not in the park?
The storage building by the school, the Blue Barn is what we
We
call
don't have
it.
to pay storage or anything like that?
No,
That's a
ma'am.
good thing.
I think we should have just bought
And it
boats.
was 9,000 for the two merry-go-rounds.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Get boats instead.
It's ready 3-4 months
Well,
of
I've
the year.
seen a lot of kayaking in it in the last week, so.
Park's getting used.
Yep.
I took my grandson down right before the water came in, and swam one last time. on the swim.
Yeah. Don't forget about Shoals Bend. It's a nice park. My husband did a lot of work to put that playground in, so.
Needs more trees up there.
Oh, we do have a park development meeting Wednesday,
Nice.
5 to 6:30 at Lakeside Event Center. I capped it at the first 11 committed folks to show up.
Okay.
So we have
Thank you for that.
11, 12.
So
So
do you
Missy's
have-
in charge of parks,
Do you have two
if y'all
people
didn't
who
know.
will be there, or just you, or?
It's just me right now.
So she's putting together, trying to get ideas. So,
And
We
only
can
two
spend our
of us
money
could go.
wisely.
Is that right? Kelly, only two of us could go to that meeting.
only 2 alternates.
Make some power somewhere.
So when you have your budget, like
Duke it
workshop,
out. Yeah,
is
we do.
that
5 to 6:30.
a public thing? You'll have everybody there? How does that work? I was asking.
For the park, you mean?
No, you were talking about you're gonna have a budget
When you have your
workshop.
budget.
Oh, when we have, yeah, it's always open. Yeah, it will be published. It was published last year in the thing, so, yeah, it's always open.
So if Jellystone is expanding so much, like they're putting, what's gonna happen with traffic? Because that could get,
More campers.
could get a little.
Yeah, I don't, since they come in so random at times and stuff, it's hard to say. Their time and they have such a nice entry to their, they can be lined up all the way inside, so it's a long entry in, and for that reason. So I'm not worried about that, to be honest, and I'm just so excited about the fact that they're gonna put in, and then this is just hearsay, that they possibly put in a little water thing. Yeah, and so it is just gonna be.
Have they ever dug around here before?
Start saying.
Maybe a very shallow lake, waiting
Yeah.
lake.
But they already have their pool and everything, so, but they're going to expand all of that. And so that jump pad out there is probably one of the kids' favorite things ever. And they put in that new play facility too, and the Gaga ball, which I'd never heard of before and stuff, and they just have so much to do. And potato chucking, they're just all stuff all the time going. Every hour there's an event. And, they'll be painting something or, it's just something constantly. And it, to me, is a big draw. And that's what draws my kids to come back, that they live in Ozark, to come down
So
here.
they'll be drawing RVers, yes, but he's also gonna open it to the public. So
Yeah.
they'll be drawing public, people coming over and doing that too, so
Yeah.
that will increase
Yeah.
traffic.
Kelly, did they sell day passes? Is that how they?
We haven't got all of the info from them on that yet. So, we haven't got everything that they've got so much planned, and we haven't got, since it's so up, so new and up in the air yet, we haven't got all what they're gonna do.
but I don't see any traffic, because you got farmer's market out there on Saturday, and
No?
there's a lot of traffic.
No, because
out
my
there since
daughter's
they put that
staying and I
new
go
awning on there.
just visit.
One of the guys said
I
it's the
don't
most
swim or
money they ever
anything, I
made,
just go
and it was
visit with
at
them and
noon.
walk their park.
Just putting that awning
So,
there.
they stay there. Oh, yeah, they stay
So they've
there.
been putting a
They
lot
come
of
down and camp there.
effort
every
into
other
that,
weekend.
which
Yeah.
that feels pretty cool.
All right, well, we need to. Motion to. Go into closed session. Okay,
Second that.
all in favor in this?
No, it's okay. It is what it
Yes,
is.
Dustin, roll call.
Does it look okay? Does it look okay?
No, it does look, it looks almost like a tent.
Congratulations.